So here's the truth nobody told me when I was younger. Financial independence isn't about being rich. It's not about Lambos, luxury vacations, or quitting your job to live on a beach and do nothing for the rest of your life. Financial independence, real financial independence, is about freedom. It's waking up one morning and realizing that if you wanted to walk away from everything today, you could. No begging your boss, no panic about bills, no guilt, just peace. And the wildest part? You don't have to be a millionaire to get there. I know because I did it before 30, but I didn't do it by being born rich. I didn't win the lottery. I didn't have some unicorn startup exit. What I had was a shift. A moment where I stopped looking at money like this giant, mysterious thing that only a few people figured out, and started treating it like a system, a game. And I want to show you exactly how I did it. The mindset, the strategy, the messy middle, all of it. Because if you've ever thought, there's no way I can make it out of this paycheck to paycheck loop, or I'll never be able to retire early, I promise, you're not broken. The system is. But once you understand how it works, you can hack it. So, let's talk about how to actually become financially independent by 30. For most of my life, I was unknowingly running plays from the wrong book. The scarcity playbook. It's the default one most of us get handed. Passed down from parents, schools, society. It teaches you how to survive, not thrive. It says, play it safe. Stick to the rules. Don't ask for too much. It's full of fear-based strategies. Save every penny, avoid all risk, hope retirement saves you at 65. And for a while, I played by those rules. Woke up early, worked hard, paid my bills, saved what I could. But nothing changed. I was moving, but not progressing. I was busy, but still broke. Then I saw something different. The Freedom Playbook. This one wasn't about cutting back. It was about leveling up. Most people aren't stuck because they're lazy. They're stuck because they're running plays from a book designed to keep them small. But you can switch playbooks anytime. That's when the game changes. At 23, I was broke, but not broken. I realized I had something more powerful than money. I had time. It was like creating invisible habits that worked for me while I focused on growth. I didn't feel restricted. I felt empowered. I wasn't budgeting my way to freedom, I was designing it. And because I had systems in place, I wasn't making emotional money decisions. The rent got paid, the investments grew, and I never had to ask myself, did I remember to save this month? Plus, the more I earned, the easier it got. That's the part people don't talk about. Money makes money, but skills make money faster. I wasn't relying on luck, a promotion, or the economy. I was betting on me. Because the truth is, nobody's coming to save you. Not your job, not the government, not even your parents. And that's not scary. It's freeing. It means I had the power all along. Every late-night YouTube binge about sales, every podcast I played during commutes, every free course I grinded through after work. It all stacked. It was like building equity in myself. And the best part? No one could take it from me. And I started treating money like a game, not a grind. Every expense became a challenge. Can I get the same outcome for less? One of the first wins? My phone bill. I was paying $85 a month. For what? Unlimited data I barely used. So I switched to a prepaid plan, same network, same coverage, for $25 a month. That's $720 a year saved. No change in lifestyle. Then I looked at subscriptions. I had Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Prime, you name it. But when I added up the hours I actually used them, not even close to worth it. So I cut 3 of them, saved another $30 a month. That $30 didn't go back into the void. It went straight into my investment account. And here's the kicker. That money, invested consistently, compounds into tens of thousands over time. Same with groceries. I stopped impulse buying snacks I didn't even like. Started meal prepping lunches instead of dropping $12 every workday. Not because I was broke, but because I had a bigger goal. I realized saving money wasn't about saying no. It was about saying yes to something better. To freedom. To peace of mind. To the option to walk away when something doesn't serve you. I didn't feel restricted. I felt in control. Because every dollar I didn't waste was a soldier in my armies marching toward freedom. And when I finally got serious about tracking my spending, that's when the real shift happened. I saw the patterns, I saw the leaks, and I plugged them. It wasn't sexy, it wasn't dramatic, but it worked. Because when you align your spending with your values, you stop feeling broke, even before you're rich. Now, here's where things really got real. I discovered the concept of the FU number. And no, I'm not talking about telling your boss off. Although, that is a nice side effect. Your FU number is the amount of money you need invested to walk away from work and not worry about running out of money. It's calculated based on something called the 4% rule, which says you can safely withdraw 4% of your investment portfolio every year without running out over time. So if you need $40,000 a year to live comfortably, you'd need $1 million invested. That's your FU number. But here's what blew my mind. You don't need $1 million to start feeling free. If I only needed $2,000 a month to cover my rent, food, and basic needs, that's $24,000 a year, meaning my mini FU number was just $600,000. And if I had other passive income streams, that number got even smaller. It suddenly became real, not some distant fantasy, not maybe when I'm 50. It became math, a target I could hit. And the craziest part? That number wasn't as far off as I thought, because every dollar I didn't spend, every bit I invested, brought me closer. It was like watching progress in real time, not just on a spreadsheet, but in my choices. Suddenly, skipping that fancy dinner didn't feel like deprivation. It felt like buying freedom. Saying no to a flashy car didn't feel like missing out. It felt like keeping leverage. I started seeing life decisions through this new lens. That concert ticket, that subscription, that random online impulse buy. I'd ask myself, is this worth delaying my freedom for another month? And the answer, more often than not, was no. Because every dollar saved and invested was working harder than I was. The market was out there, compounding while I slept. And the sooner I hit my FU number, even the mini version, the sooner I had options. Options to work because I wanted to, not because I had to. Options to leave a toxic job, to travel for a month, to take creative risks that didn't pay off right away. That number wasn't just about money. It was about control. And control, in a world where everything feels out of your hands, is the most underrated luxury there is. So I started building, not overnight, not with some flashy crypto bet or some NFT side hustle, but slowly, steadily, strategically. I created income streams, the kind that make money while I sleep. At first it was small, a few bucks from affiliate links, a little consulting on the side, selling a digital product I made in a weekend. But those tiny streams added up. I had 1 month where my YouTube channel paid me $347. And I remember looking at that number like it was $1 million, because that was $347 I didn't have to trade time for. Eventually, it grew. I reinvested into better tools, better systems. I hired help. I said no to distractions. I said no to gigs that didn't pay what I was worth. And maybe most importantly, I stayed boring with my investing. I didn't chase the hot stock. I didn't try to time the market. I just kept buying into low-cost index funds every single month, no matter what. Because the goal wasn't to beat the market. The goal was to own my time. My first milestone, I wanted to make just $1,000 a month passively. That felt like the first little hill before the real mountain. I mapped it out. If I could build up just 3 income streams that brought in $333 each per month, I was there. So I broke it down. 1 YouTube channel with consistent uploads, 1 digital product that solved a real problem, and 1 freelance skill I could eventually turn into a course. At first, it was like watching paint dry. Some days I made $10, some weeks I made nothing, but I kept showing up. I'd wake up, publish, tweak, test, and go again. And then 1 month, I hit that $1,000. And it was quiet. No celebration. Just me, a laptop, and the realization that I built something that worked. That $1,000 a month gave me breathing room. It paid my rent in a cheap city. It meant I could say no to a toxic client. Next, I aimed for $3,000 a month. That was enough to live well, save, and invest more aggressively. So I expanded, turned one product into three, added another affiliate partner, ramped up content, doubled down on what was working. It was all stacking, not fast, but undeniably forward. And every time I got paid without clocking in, I felt it. Freedom, in tiny installments. Until one day I wasn't grinding to survive. I was building to scale. But here's the trap that almost took me out. Lifestyle inflation. At some point, my income doubled, then tripled. And guess what? I almost blew it. I started thinking, well, I can afford a better apartment. I should upgrade my car. I deserve that trip. And sure, I could afford it. But every dollar I spent was a dollar not going toward freedom. And that's when it hit me. Most people don't stay broke because they don't make money. They stay broke because they keep spending more every time they earn more. So I locked in what I call my baseline lifestyle. It wasn't about deprivation. It was about clarity. I knew what my real monthly cost of freedom was, and I built everything around that. I still treated myself. I still had fun, but I stopped tying my identity to how much I spent. Because the real flex isn't driving a car that turns heads. It's driving a paid-off car to a coffee shop on a random Tuesday morning. Because your time is yours. I'll give you an example. When I first started making real money, I almost signed a lease on this luxury high-rise downtown. You know, rooftop pool, floor-to-ceiling windows, a gym I probably wouldn't use. Rent was $2,700 a month. But something in me paused. I ran the numbers. If I stayed in my smaller, older place, rent-controlled and $1,100 a month, I'd save $1,600 every single month. That's $19,200 a year. So I made a deal with myself. I'd stay in the modest apartment, and I'd treat the difference like a rent refund I invested. I literally auto-transferred $1,600 every month into my brokerage account. Didn't even let it hit checking. It was like invisible money. But not really, because every time I checked my investments, I could see that luxury rent stacking into something way more powerful. Over 2 years, I had over $40,000 invested just from that one decision. And that's the thing. Financial independence isn't built on one massive win. It's built on 100 small, smart decisions that stack over time. That high rise would have given me a cool view, but discipline, that gave me options. And I'd take freedom over floor-to-ceiling windows any day. Now, people ask me all the time, was it worth it? Was it worth skipping the expensive stuff in my 20s? Was it worth saying no to happy hours and fancy dinners and the treat-yourself moments? Let me tell you something. I remember the first time I realized I didn't have to work. I was sitting on my couch midweek drinking coffee. My phone buzzed. It was a Stripe notification. Passive income. Then I checked my investment app. A dividend payout hit my account. And I just sat there, smiling. Not because I was rich, but because I was free. Free to choose, free to build, free to rest. That moment, that feeling, that's what all of this was for. So if you're watching this wondering if you could ever get there, I'm telling you, yes, you can. Not because it's easy, but because it's simple. The hard part isn't the math, it's the mindset. It's silencing Lola and listening to Athena. It's doing the boring stuff consistently. It's choosing long-term peace over short-term pleasure. You don't need to be a genius. You don't need to be born into money. You just need to start. Start learning. Start earning. Start stacking skills, not things. Start treating every dollar like a worker you're hiring to buy back your time. You don't need millions. You need a plan. You need discipline. And you need to believe, not in some vague someday, but in your ability to make it real. Because financial independence, it's not a fantasy. It's just freedom. And freedom is built. $1, one habit, one smart decision at a time. If this video helped shift something in you, if it sparked something real, don't let it just be motivation. Let it be momentum. Subscribe so you don't miss the next piece. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And most importantly, go start building your own freedom flywheel. Because I did it. And you can too. Let's go get free.